Hello, mayors. Hello, mayoresses. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. We're here to start another episode of Barbacini Island, our vanilla island. And this is the first time I'm opening the game here since the update. Actually, it's the first update made by Ice Flake Studios, which replaced the colossal order here in the game's development, right? So, is this the first patch they've released? Well, I thought the performance got a little better. But graphically, especially when it comes to shadows. Look, when we see these little houses from San Francisco here, it looks kind of, I don't know, cartoonish, right? It doesn't look that realistic. Anyway, I think they slipped up a bit on that, but I'm not going to go deep into the patch. No, well, I ask you to follow the channel, right? Subscribe in this case, and if you want to follow, you can follow on Instagram too. I can say follow, right? At Barboza Cities. I don't ask much for you to follow on Instagram, but if you want to, feel free. Sometimes I announce some things over there and give your, comment. That's it. What do you think of the series anyway? All that process you already know. It's amazing. It's awesome. Well, we're here with this situation in our Japanese city, right? It's going really well. We replaced the park here. The traffic is very calm, very smooth, right? We have a binary street system here. Whoever watched the last episode of Vale Central knows what I'm talking about, right? It's a concept we applied here. And man, I made some changes here off camera, really simple ones. Actually, it wasn't even a change. It was more like a removal, right? I didn't add anything. We had that clover leaf, right? An intersection here, which I removed and decided to connect, right? And this road here, right? It used to curve here, see? Following the whole coast, right? And then there was an intersection here. I decided to remove it and run this road underneath here and connect it to this roundabout, which had a loose end here, right? I think it's better than having all those overpasses over here, and we kind of gain this space here to work with. And since we have plans to build a small city, a farm here, right, in the Asian style, I think we could have some industries sheltered here, right? And we could make a small industrial park just like we did here. Look in this little village, right, which houses an industrial park in this region. So that's basically it. And another thing I want to mention to you is that even though this is a vanilla series, I installed one more mod. The first one was Anarchy, right? Because I couldn't build without Anarchy since this map was made with Anarchy. So there were a lot of things I couldn't do because of that. The other mod is this one here. Look, it's Time and Weather Anarchy, which basically the only thing it does is give me control over the weather here in the game. And why did I add this mod for a visual health reason? With this new patch from Ice Flake Studios, our snow texture here in the city got completely, entirely bugged. I took some screenshots. I'll put them on the screen for you to take a look at how it is. And man, it got really ugly, right? Ugly to the point that it hurts your eyes. I hope they fix this problem because the snow didn't even reach the city actually, right? It only covered the mountains there and then. Suddenly, all the lots were covered in snow, right? And that looked kind of weird, right? It didn't match up, and I ended up signing up for this mod to be able to fix this visual issue. And so we can better appreciate Barbacini Island here without that eyesore. And look how beautiful the night is here in our Japanese city. But anyway, let's continue expanding it. Well, first of all, I want to develop a business here. No, actually a fishing industry, right? Fish farming and deep sea fishing. And here, man, this is an area that's going to be right in the spotlight because this area at the bottom of the map has a lot of fish available. So I want to take advantage of this deep area here by the Japanese islet and establish our industry in this region. The access theoretically is easy. You see, we have this bridge here leading straight to a small road that goes directly there, right? There's this triangular roundabout here which helps with maneuvers and changing lanes. Between this little road and this avenue, which is the avenue that up ahead, right? It splits, kind of becomes a two-way street here, right? And it cuts the city in half, giving access here to the train station and another exit over here. But anyway, there's no shortage of access. So, let's go. I'm going. First of all, I think we should already buy this sea area we have here, which has plenty of fish available, right? We can explore this area here. Look, everything's bought, and we can also start drawing the streets. I think I'll start from the last little island here and then move on to the bigger island in here, guys. I want to make kind of a circuit, right? Where we'll be able to place our industries. I'm even going to turn on the topography here so we can see more or less where this depression towards the sea starts, right? Is it here? A one-way circuit will really help us explore all the potential of this little island. Well, here we'll have to continue a two-way street this way, right? Because otherwise, whoever goes won't be able to come back. If it's one way, then I'll open up a street here and even a second one here, like a cul-de-sac, so we can explore this corner over here too. I think it's okay, let's see. Actually, now the size of the fish farming industries it's not very big, no. Actually, it needs to be closer to the water. It has to be at least, look, about 2 more units here, closer to the water. So let's fix this problem. I changed the layout here, but the idea stayed pretty much the same. Just look, here I created a cross street, right? Passing here on this side and under the bridge, and that's it. Now the street is closer to the water. We can already position our fish farm here. I'll place this one, just so we can see more or less how it is. The industry specializes in fishing. There's a pier here, right? From the fishing port that we can extend, right? From this pier that's already part of the dock structure. And it's the place where fishing boats dock to unload their catches. Well, here we're going to create 3 loading and unloading points. I think that's too much, so I'll leave 2 points on each side, right? Look, we have the fishing area, which is probably supposed to be placed here, right? In the region where there are plenty of fish. All right then, man. I want to explore all of this here. I'll do the following. I'll bring the route here first up to this region. Okay, so let's pull this route down here, which is currently the limit of our municipality, right? Then I'll connect this other side here as well, all right? 2 accesses to the pier are connected, and now I'll position it here. Look, actually, I'm drawing the fishing area here, so let's do it, right? So here's the thing. I'm going to run this route here. I'll run it here, more along the edge, right? So we can make better use of the space by placing these fishing areas more in the center, right? So that we can make better use of the space here, right? I'm going to fit another one right here, close to the other one, so we don't lose any fish and can feed this population. Now I'm going to connect these routes, right? All the way to the main road here. I think I'll create a route up here. So we can make use of this space over here too, and this side here. See, at least we can get this little piece here. Barbosa, you're not showing any mercy to the fish, not just in this area. Look, here alone there are already 760-something tons that can be collected. I think we're going to catch a lot of fish, right? Let me see, huh? Actually, that's something I should have checked before, which is our fish consumption, right? 285 tons. In other words, just this last fishing area I created here is already enough to supply the whole city and still export, right? So I think this actually went overboard. I'm actually going to remove this one, so let's take this one out. And let's use this road, this new road that was opened up, this new space that was freed up actually to create a new route here where we can connect it to the other side of the pier, right? I don't know if it's necessary, but I'll create a little turnaround here as well. And all right, that's how it turned out. Let's explore here, right? The sides of the pier, so this one, I'll move it over here, and the one on the other side, I'll move it to the back here. Look, right, here on the outside and the last pier here for the last fishing area. And it's even going to use this passage here, right? And I think it's going to be put to good use. Here we have the cold chamber, which is a small refrigerated storage to keep fish before they are transported to the final consumers. So I think they can stay here. The large chamber holds 60 tons and the small one, 20. Since we're going to have a lot of fish, well, not produce, but catch a lot of fish, I think it's better for us to use the large one right away. I'll do the following. I'll put a parking lot here, and then all that's left is to put the warehouses here, right? Let me see. I can put one here and another one here. 60, that's already 120. And then I put 2 more medium ones here, each with a capacity for 40, so that's 260 in total here. It won't be enough for us to store everything we catch, but it will be enough for us to store everything we have in demand. Here on the island, right? You have to connect the power and water here, okay? Everything's connected. Oh, and now I'm going to build a little fishing village here, right? Set up a shop, right? We don't have a fishing industry shop, right? I thought we did, but I think I confused it with Cities Skylines 1. In Cities Skylines 1, we have the fishing industry shop here. Unfortunately, we don't have it here, right? So I'm going to put the traditional Japanese one here, and I'm going to use the technique from Octopolis, right, which is to create advanced structures here. Look at the shoreline level, towards making just a little bit of office space, right? As if it were here to simulate the office area that manages the fishing industry. Well, now we just have to wait for it to grow. In the meantime, I'm going to fix up this unnatural formation that was created by the fishing boat route, right? For that, I'm going to use the terrain leveling tool, right-click at this height here, the standard it's set, and then I'll apply it to the rest. And I'm actually going to take quite a bit off the slope here and push the land back really close to the houses so we can create an effect. Here, kind of like stilt houses, not exactly stilt houses, but something very similar to what happens in many Asian cities, right? Mainly in Southeast Asia. I don't think it's that common in Japan. And then I'll keep pulling back here. I don't think I'm going to touch the street here. I'm not going to let this part extend all the way here, right? It's like there's a sandbank underneath here, connecting to this other little island, right? We even have the last little island here. So I'm not going to remove this part to keep the natural look of the geography, but on the other side, I'll keep removing it. Here we have an island, right? I'll leave this island. So I'm going to go around it here. It's shallow water, right? And I want to preserve that. All right, look and see how it turned out, right? It even looks pretty nice in some lots here, going out into the water. For decorative purposes, I'm going to create some paths. But I don't think it's gonna work. It won't look good because what happened was, okay, right? It just got a little buggy here, a bit of the terrain. But that's it. Look, I can adjust it more easily here. You know why? What I wanted to create here, like a private pier, here for the business, you know? So what would I do? I would create this pier a little more over here, right? I think now with the update, actually, with the bridging port's downloadable content, we should have some boats here lying around to use as decoration. I just don't know where they are. Yeah, I didn't find them, maybe only with Find It, right? They could make this kind of thing available natively, right? Just like they've already made some things available here, like little tables, chairs, right? There's even a clothesline asset available here naturally, right? Natively, so, right. I take this little texture here and stretch it so it looks like the lot comes all the way down here. I made the path a little more over here, right? Outside the lot, because if I put it right up against the lot here, it would end up a bit too high, right? And without Move It, you can't fix the height, so I'm trying to apply this technique to the other lots here. See, you notice when I try to place it right up against the back here, right? It ends up way too high, so I have to move it just a little bit more here so it doesn't get so high, you know, so out of place. Although here it even messed up the zoning, right? I need to find a better way to do it. This one didn't get in the way, but this one did, and also on the street. Hey, can I turn this part here into gas? And then, look, how does it turn out, right? Here, the detailing is pretty much done already. So, am I going to do it here in the houses too? I don't think so, right? I think I'll leave it more here in the commercial area, and I think it could look good back here in the offices too. And in the offices, I'm going to add more vegetation, more greenery than what I ended up putting in the commercial area. And then, I'm going to take advantage of this little island here. Look, I'll extend a little path over here and pull a pier from here, okay? Because, after all, we know there are, right? Fishing industries and all that. But there are a lot of people who go to the piers with their fishing rods, and they just stay there, right? All day long, and they feed their families, or even supply their businesses, right? With this practice. So that's why I'm enjoying putting some little piers here, right? And now, Adding some stones to give it a nice detail here. Look, I'll put another pier and another almas. There, good. I'll put piers on just a few houses here. And they won't be that long either. Because what if the guy has a jet ski there, right? Or a speedboat, anyway. Well, and here on this little tip, right? We have a sandbar that connects to the other small islands. I'm going to try to make a little beach. Why? To diversify the landscape here even more. There, I created a slope here, really gentle, right? And I'm gonna put a sand surface here so we get a result like this. Well, it's already looking really awesome, right? And I bet you guys know, right? After placing the docks, adjusting the terrain here, tweaking the textures, and adding some decorative rocks here, and also to contain the tide, waves, and so on. Of course, the vegetation will still be missing, right? I'm going to put a row of trees here at the entrance, here on Fisherman's Island. All right, it actually looks pretty nice. I'm even going to mix in some smaller trees here. Because after all, right? A bridge here with several vehicles passing by ends up causing both air and noise pollution, right? So, what do you think? The vegetation helps to mitigate that. Exactly, and there's something cool that's worth mentioning, right? From this update made by Asa Flake, which was very positive. What is it? They reduced the collision radius of the trees here, especially the oak, right? It had a really large collision radius and we couldn't place one so close to another. Now we can natively, see? We could only do that before with Anarchy, right? Now, natively, without mods, we can already do this. So that was really positive. Here's the mention and the compliment. And here on the beach, I'm going to place some trees. Well, not trees, right? Really short bushes here, just so it doesn't look like it's missing details. You can put some lounge chairs here. Look, there won't be anyone here, right? What's missing? Make a beach downloadable content, but we put this here just so we can't say it doesn't have one, right? All right, guys, this is how it turned out. Look, it looks really cool. I like the style here with the little houses on the hillside. I like the several piers, right? It really gives the impression that it's a fishing island and that fishermen live here. And man, our fish farming center here is still at level 1. But it's running pretty efficiently at 114%. Employing 90 people and producing 740 tons of fish. Producing, not fishing for fish. It's already there, right? Nature is what produces it. Generating a profit here of $357 per month. Actually, that's revenue, right? Because there's a cost of $152,000. So a profit of $205. It's not much yet since there hasn't been time for exports and everything. We're using here a little more than half of the balancing, not the storage, which is balanced. And it turned out great. Man, let's see how the production charts turned out here. Look, now we're not only meeting internal demand, we're also exporting 426 tons of fish out of the 710 we're producing. So it turned out really great. Let's switch to a first-person view so we can take a look here. This guy here is going to walk through the neighborhoods. Let's see how the neighborhood is doing. Look, he's already going down here, and he's going to turn right. I left the camera because it gets buggy and the car blocks our view. And here there are already some residential areas. Some fishermen's houses. There's a dog here taking care of a little plantation that someone is working on. The road goes under the bridge and we access the actual neighborhood area of this region here. The streets here are all little alleys. And turning this way, I'm even going to catch this truck on foot since I'm walking now. And we have access to the main street, the main circuit, which is this one here with a lot of shops. This shop here doesn't sell fish. It's Japanese style, but I think it could fool you. And over here we have our fishing area. Look, oops, we saw what we weren't supposed to see. This way. There are more shops, the shops with private piers. I can't go over there because we can only come up to here, you see, it's a private pier. We can't go any further because we'd fall into the water, but I want to see over there. The fishing building, that's the one. Here is a little house. It even looks like a house. There are some cars parked here. There's a huge parking lot here and nobody is using it. Then people are complaining that there's no parking space. And over there we can already see the giant pier and over here the little beach. the little beach of the Fisherman's Islet with some chairs. So anyway, I thought it turned out really nice. It turned out well. In an atmosphere like this, more rural, it doesn't really look like a big city. It really looks like a little island. And it's a little island connected exactly by this little road. Here, this bridge that leads to it. And here we can see the boats doing their work. Harvesting, fishing a lot of fish. Well, I think that's it for today. That's it, folks. I really want to thank our vice presidents, the mayors, Giovanni Freitas, Jose Fernando, Nagal, Pedro Mendez, and Rapuksho. And I also want to thank our secretaries whose names are appearing on the screen, who are watching this episode in advance, together with the vice mayors. And I also want to thank the foundation and pillar of this channel, which are our counselors. To them, my sincere thanks and gratitude. You who are not a member of the channel, but are always here watching the videos, liking them right from the start, and commenting whenever you can. Without you, this channel would be nothing, so thank you so much. We're always together. See you in the next episode. Leave a comment about what you thought. See you.